In this video, I'll give you a lesson on how to play the two drum rudiments, the flam and flam taps. Flams are one of the most foundational drum rudiments in Fife drum and are required to learn for most cadences. Flam taps are a flam-based rudiment commonly used in 2/4 cadences. You'll need decent mastery of both before moving on to the long march. Make sure you have your drumsticks and drum or drum pad set up. In this lesson, I'll play to demonstrate and then give you time to play along to music or audio. This is what flams look like in written music, and should look familiar from Lesson 5, cease-firing. Here we see alternating flams, which we can tell because the first flam has a large note below the line, indicating a right flam, and the second flam has a large note above the line, indicating a left flam. The difference between these two sets of flams is the rhythm. This first set are called quarter notes. We can tell because the heads are filled in and there's no bar or flag on the stem. Quarter notes take one full beat. If you were marching, you'd play as one foot hits the ground and not play the next note until the other foot hits the ground. The second set are called eighth notes. We can tell because they have a single bar or single flag. These are half a beat. So if you were marching, you'd play one as your foot hits the ground, the next halfway through a step, and then the third one once your next foot hits the ground. In 2/4 cadences, like long march, we usually see eighth note flams. In Lesson 5, cease-firing, we introduced the right-handed flam, so that should already be familiar. What we'll do is to start with just a quick review. So remember, in a flam, we're using both of our hands. We'll make our right hand nice and high, so roughly 8 inches to a foot off the drum head, and we'll keep our left hand nice and low, so about 1 inch or 2 off the drum head. When we strike the drum, both hands go at the same time and should strike the drum roughly at the same time as each other. Remember that right hand, since it's traveling a much longer distance, needs to move pretty quick. Start by just playing 10 to 20 flams, making sure you're getting good form, good height difference between the right hand and the left hand. Generally, when we play flams, we'll actually alternate. So the next thing we're going to do is learn how to play a left-handed flam. Obviously, this is just the opposite of what you were doing before. So now our left hand will be roughly 8 inches to a foot off the drum head. Our right hand will be nice and low. And we'll do the exact same thing. Strike the drum at the same time. This time focusing on that left hand that needs to come down a lot faster. Now, when you're using your left hand, make sure that you're using a wrist motion, right? So I'm kind of twisting my wrist, twisting my forearm a little bit, and that's what's allowing me to raise and lower it. You don't want to be using your forearm and going up and down parallel to the ground, right? That's going to slow you down quite a lot and not give you a ton of power. So make sure you're twisting from the forearm, twisting at the wrist, and that's what's creating that movement in the left hand. Again, just focus on just left-handed flams. Make sure you have this nice height difference between your two sticks. Left hand is moving in that twisting motion. Right hand is staying nice and low, just a little tap from the wrist. So once you can play your right-handed flam and your left-handed flam, the next goal is to alternate them. So we'd have a right-handed flam, switch sides for the left hand is now up high, the right hand is now low, play our left-handed flam, and again, switch sides so the right hand is back up top. Biggest challenge when people start to try to alternate their flams is actually keeping that low hand low. So typically what I see happen is you play your right-handed flam, the left hand will pop up so it's ready to play the left-handed flam, but the right hand will also creep up pretty high. So there's not very much height difference between the right and the left hand, and then you're not going to get a very clean sounding flam. And then, of course, as you play this flam, you're going to have a similar issue where the left hand tends to also pop back up, and then going forward, all of your flams don't sound very clean. So before we actually work on alternating our flams, we're going to work on a stroke called a downstroke, and this will help you control the flam a lot better. So focus just on your right hand for a moment. You're going to bring it up high into the high flam position, and then when you strike the drum, your goal is to squeeze your whole hand just a little bit to catch the drumstick just slightly above the head. So you throw it down. As soon as it hits the drum head, squeeze just a little bit, and that will deaden the stick's momentum and stop it where you want it. Your goal here is to get it as close to the drum head as possible without accidentally squeezing when you're down. Right? If you're squeezed at the moment it hits the drum head, you're going to end up smushing it into the drum head and either deaden it completely or end up with a kind of buzzing sound, right, from that we've learned in our rolls. So hits the drum head, and then you squeeze this tiny bit, and it should deaden itself right about an inch or two above the head. And then what we can do is focus on the left hand. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put that slight amount of pressure in the top of the thumb and catch just above the drum head. So now what I want you to do is practice the downstroke. Do 10 or so on your right hand, 10 or so on your left hand. So now we're going to incorporate that downstroke into our flam movement. So we'll start with just right-handed flams for the moment. So you'll bring your right hand up high, your left hand low on the drum head. What you're going to do is play a flam and then catch the right stick low in the low flam position. Don't worry so much about what your left hand is doing. We're really just focusing on playing the right stroke, squeezing a little bit in our right hand and catching it so that our sticks stay down together like this. Then we're going to reset back to our right-handed flam and do the exact same thing. Reset, squeeze and catch, and then reset. And the goal here is to teach yourself how to play a right-handed flam and use that downstroke movement to catch it in the low position. So try playing at least 20 of those flams, the downstroke. Ideally, if you have a mirror or a television set you can stand in front of, that's the best way to make sure that you're actually catching it in a low position and not letting it slowly creep higher and higher as you work on this exercise. So now we're going to do the same exercise, but on the left side. So we'll bring our left hand up into the high flam position, keep our right hand low, play a flam, squeeze with the thumb, and then deaden that stick just at the same height that your right hand is at. And then we'll reset to another left hand flam, squeeze and catch it, reset. So now we're going to try alternating our flams. We're still going to do this at a nice slow pace so we can focus on those downstrokes. So similar to the exercise we just did, you're going to bring yourself into a right-handed flam position. You'll play a right hand flash, squeeze your right hand to deaden the stick so that both sticks are nice and low. Now we're going to reset, but reset to a left hand position. Do the same thing, flam, squeeze, stop here where both sticks are low, reset to a right. And you're just going to keep doing this and alternating your flams. Try playing 20 or more, really focusing on that nice deadened stick so that both sticks are at the same height before you reset and try the next side. So now that you're getting more comfortable with playing those downstrokes, we're going to try playing our alternative flams a little bit more naturally. So you'll get into a right-handed position. Once you play that right stroke or that right flam, so now that you're getting more comfortable with that downstroke, we're going to try playing our flams more naturally. So we're going to start with a right-handed flam. When you play the right flam, you're still going to be thinking about squeezing in the right hand so that it stays low like we've been working on, but you're going to immediately let your left hand pop up and get ready for its left-handed flam. And then you're going to stop here for a moment, just reset. Well, not really reset, but reassess. So make sure that your right hand actually stayed down like you wanted it to. Make sure that your left hand came up high enough to play the flam, and then go ahead and play another flam. The same thing. Reassess, make sure your left hand is nice and low, your right hand is up high. And what you want to see is that sort of just popping action, where after you play one flam, the next hand's already popped up into position, but also very importantly, that whatever hand was high actually stayed down and didn't accidentally, utilize that momentum to creep way up, right? Try playing 20 or so flams like that, really focusing again on keeping the low hand low and popping the next hand up. Next, we're going to work on a practical exercise. Play a phrase from the Long March, one of the most common cadences and one of the next lessons you'll work on. For this, we'll start with a right-handed flam. And then I want you to, just like we were doing in those exercises earlier, catch your right hand in this low position where both your hands are low. The next thing you'll do is play just a right stroke, just sort of a lighter stroke from this position. Then you'll reset to a left-handed flam position, play a flam. Again, like that earlier exercise, you're going to catch the left stroke, or the left hand, down low, and play a soft left stroke. These are called flam taps. They're another common rudiment based on flams. So again, you're going to do a right-handed flam, catch it, right stroke, reset to a left flam, catch it, and then a left stroke. To complete the phrase, we're going to add 3 flams to the end. So we'll start with our flam taps. So it'll be flam, tap, reset to a right-handed flam position. And you play right flam, right flam. So all together, flam, tap, flam, flam. Make sure you can comfortably play along to the recording all the way through before moving on. Once you've got this beating down, move on to the next lesson. If you want a recording of just the full beating, check out my video